not cooling. The fan motor is running. Missing a cap on the Schrader valve here for the filter dryer. Filter dryer looks a little rusty there, but everything was working, so I didn't have low Freon or anything. Good chance it's just a burned wire. It's on 105 today. Good old Palm Springs here. Let's take a look. Compressor's bloody hot. Way hot. All kinds of stuff going on, and look at that major Schrader valve leak on the high side. Oh boy. It's going to pull the disconnect and cool it down. Compressor is actually running. I don't know, if I could get my Freon up here soon enough, I could probably charge it, as long as it doesn't overheat. Got some ice to cool it down. Replace that Schrader valve, clean this thing up. Oh my gosh. Bad. Yeah, for sure. There's our leak. Leaking Schrader valve. Oh boy. Fun. If I pull it, it might overheat, but well, I guess I can pull it and put my ice on it, come back with my Freon and get it going. There it is. Now I'll put my ice on it so it'll start to cool it down. All kinds of fun here. Oh my gosh. Come back and charge it up. Secure that capacitor. Get rid of all the junk. Oh my gosh. And put a cap on there. Kind of a kink in there. Dump a little cold water. Good measure also. Look how hot that is. Oh my gosh. Surprised the thermal overload didn't go out already. Alright, we'll get my gauges, my Freon, charge it up, some caps. Okay, got all my gear plugged up on the roof, and looks like it's still so hot. It's melting the ice pretty quickly. There's that. And get all this trash out of here. Get things secured up a bit better. Oh man. Old capacitors. Wiring cover. Alright. And you can see if I can't replace that Schrader valve. Give it a shot. Definitely want to wear gloves when messing with these. I've seen a couple of my videos where I had some crazy fun with these blasting out. Today I brought a extra little doodad in case things don't work out. I've got a splitter, a couple splitters that depress the valve and add new valves on the end. This way I can still check my pressures on the high side, make sure everything's working okay if I reach a dead end where I can't replace that Schrader valve or I can't get it to stop leaking. I'm going to try to fix it first. Get my gloves on. Let's open it up. See what we look like there. You can see all the oily residue in there. Definitely was where we're leaking. Oh, you can even see it. Bubbling refrigerant. Liquid refrigerant there. So, my Schrader core tool. Loosen it a tiny bit first and try to remove that. Past few rounds I haven't had much luck. So I like to wear 2 pairs of disposable gloves for these. I'll give you this view for this. Okay. And what I've got is my Schrader core removal tool. So I'm going to kind of line that up on the valve first. There it is. And then now I'll thread the body onto it. Now we're on. And again, definitely want to wear safety glasses and gloves for this. By the way, you have to be EPA certified to mess with this stuff with Freon, charge with Freon or hook up gauges. Okay, let's see if the Schrader valve came out. Turn off my valve here, pull it back off, and let's see if we had any luck. Oh yeah, we did. That's good. Now I recently heard about this stuff Nylog and I haven't gotten to try it out yet, but I'm wanting to try it out. It's a lubricant that you can add to the Schrader valve or add to the Schrader valve cap, and it's actually made from the Schrader valve. It's made from the same oil as the refrigerant, so there we go. There's our new one. Rotate this to where I can turn it on. Insert the plunger. Thread in the Schrader valve. Okay, just snug is good, don't want to over tighten it. Okay, pull my deal back, turn off the refrigerant. Just going to verify that it actually took the Schrader valve and it's not still sitting on the end of the tool. And it did, so that's good. And now ready to disconnect the core removal tool. Go. Now, the question is if they're leaking or not. So far, so good. What I have is some bubble up. It's made by Hydro Balance. And this will show us if we're leaking right away. Hey, we're looking good. No leaking. Good, good, good. So I'll rinse that off. Yeah, it's great. Okay. Now for the low side. See if we're leaking there at all. I don't think we are. I don't see any oil residue the same as did on the other side. That is great. No leak there. Okay, just going to check here. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Stuff reminds me of like bubbles. That's how it works too. Alright, so now I'm ready to charge up. We've repaired our leak there. Just going to rinse away this stuff, and I'll purge my hose lines to purge out any moisture or air from the line. We don't want to get any moisture or air in the line. It contains moisture. But I'm glad about the Schrader valve. Dump some more ice water on my compressor and get this thing going. Okay, so here goes the next phase. Get my gauges hooked up. See what our pressures are. Today I'm using the S-Man 4 and S-Man 3 actually. Field piece meter. Very nice piece of equipment here. The only thing I don't like about it is it wants to reflect everything. So it makes taking videos a little tricky when I like to stay out of my videos. But that's okay. Here's our low side. Make sure we're turned off here. Make sure we're turned off here. Make sure we're turned off there. Okay, so low side. Using quick connects. Alright, fire up my gauges. I'll purge the low side. Okay. And now for the high side. And purge the high side. Okay. And now going up to our tank. And I've got a new can of refrigerant here. So just going to take a little minute to get the little bit of plastic off of there. Dust cap. definitely doesn't like the angle here. Okay, there we go. Open it up and purge the refrigerant. So now we're purged on all three sides. Very important to purge on all sides so that we don't get a bubble of air that'll travel up and over into the system. Okay, so there's our standing pressure, 99 psi, and now we're ready to charge. See, it's definitely thirsty. Okay, one last little dump of cold water onto the compressor, and hopefully it's going to start for me. Hopefully it hasn't gone out on the thermal overload. Since I know it's so low on Freon, I'll just go ahead and start charging it right away and leave my ice on here to help speed the charge. Let's get it going. Oh, compressor did not start. Just need to pull it and finish cooling down that overheated compressor. Ay, ay, ay. It was going so good. Put this a little closer down towards the bottom. Oh boy. Sometimes when it's on the fence, it's a hard call on whether to pull the disconnect. If the compressor is already really hot, once you pull it, there's a good chance the thermal switch is going to kick in, and that's what happened here. But I really needed to in order to replace that high side valve. It's much easier to, much safer to replace it with the pressure turned off. So it's just going to take a little longer to cool the compressor down. But it is what it is. While that's going down, or cooling down, I add my Schrader cap to my filter dryer over here. Keep that better for the future. Yeah, the compressor was just so hot. Also, while that's going, or while that's cooling down, I can go ahead and secure that dangling capacitor. That shouldn't be dangling like that. Good chance it'll arc out on us. So I've got the disconnect pulled. This one you can see someone's converted it. It looks like a 35.5, and they've just pulled the fan motor, separated it, so it's on its own 5 microfarad capacitor, and they just continued to use the existing 35 portion, the common and the harm. I don't really have to discharge that one, but kind of just run this military grade cable strap. Right around here. And here. Sometimes I'll use a little bigger one, but it's okay. Nice and tight, but able to change it out in the future if we need to. So we'll do. Alright, got some more water here. I'm going to go ahead and shut off my Freon. Go ahead and try again on the compressor. I don't know if we're there yet. If it doesn't start up right away, I'll just pull it because it'll just sit there and get even hotter. Here it goes. Nope. Oh man. Yeah, the other way I could have done this was come up and add a little bit of liquid refrigerant before pulling the disconnect. Again, give it a chance to cool off, then pull the disconnect and then repair the Schrader valve. I still really don't like that idea as much. Take a little time. Alright, well, the blazing fun continues. Went and got some more ice here. And hopefully she's going to start up. The ice will help cool that overheated part down, but it'll also make it charge faster, so kind of do a double whammy for me. So hopefully it's going to start up. Let's fire it up and find out, huh? Here goes. Oh no. Did not start. Okay. Pull it again. Give it even longer. Man. What are you gonna do? Yeah, it's still blazing hot. Whew. I like to get my freezer pack here more towards the lower level. Ah, it's a stubborn one. What are you gonna do? It's got to be getting closer though. Nice down here. Okay, take a measurement on the microfarads to make sure we're in tolerable form here. Field piece meter. Definitely my meter of choice these days. So set it on microfarads. And we're on microfarads. And get the disconnect bulb. Since I plugged it in, I'll need to re-discharge the cap. And we'll just test across the arm and common there. There's the Herm. There's the common. $94. We're way off. That's not right. 94 microfarads? Yeah, there's something wrong for sure there. It could just be my meter is reading off. Let's disconnect the thermocouple. Take a look now. 3.6. So I think our microfarads are bad there. We might need to change the capacitor. Pressure's still pretty hot. I do see a bit of a bulge in that capacitor also. I'll just change that out. And just try it one more time. Go from there. Alright, so let's change out that capacitor. Here's my 35. And I need to re-discharge the capacitor, so no biggie. Go. And got a new hard start sitting here. So I can go ahead and put that on my new one. the yellow wire goes to one side. That's the harm. It goes to the start wire for the compressor. And then the rest of the wires are the common. And you see the nice bulge on the top there. There's our common wires. And this one, the rest is junk. We got definitely a big old bulge there, so capacitor could be bad. Just was odd how it was running and then all of a sudden it stopped running. Anyway, that's how it is sometimes. Gonna probably need to loosen that strap up in order to fit this. There we go. So, put the Herm towards the back on this one. There we go. And the common here. That one's a little loose. Tighten that terminal up a little bit. And here's our other common though. That one's nice and tight just fine, but this one was a little loose. So, tighten that down a little bit. And now we're nice and tight. Okay? And our hard start kit we can just tuck in right here. Okay, now we're all new there. Make sure all our other wiring is okay, and it is. And now fire it up. Give another little shot of cold water for the compressor. We'll fire it up. Could just be that this capacitor got so hot that that was just its last round of give. Maybe once it turned off, the connections broke to the point that it was no good anymore. I'll retest that again once I get this going. Okay, here's hoping. Nope. So hopefully our compressor is not ground out. The fact that it was getting hot suggests to me that it's not, though. It probably just overheated. Man, not my day. This time I'm going to get my rag wet because I'm down to my last bit of cold water. Check and see if the compressor grounds it out, but most likely when it does that it would throw the breaker. It could just be that it was so hot that it's taken extra long to cool down, but it feels fairly cool now. It doesn't like me. okay there. Feels like it should have cooled off by now. Feel piece meter turning off. Oh boy. Give it another shot. Feels cool. Man, let's check our fuses here. Ohms. Do a continuity check. Good there. Good there. Fuses are good. Contactor looks okay, but it is buzzing a little bit. Just kind of remembering the other day I had a contactor that was intermittently cooling. Plug this in. Overheated, it'll just sit there and get hot. Fan motor sounds a little funny. Could just be, yeah, the weight of my refrigerant on top there. Seems okay. Better pull it though. Could verify we're getting our 220. We'll do that. Feel the compressor again. Feel if it's hot. It's not too hot. It's a little hot. So I guess first check I'll just do a continuity test, discharge the cap. Just see if we're getting continuity on the contactor from the bottom to the top. Go wire to wire. We have the start. Ah, what do we got there? We got a problem on the start wire. Yellow. Yellow. It's yellow. Oh, there it is. Okay. And now black. Red. We're good there. So, question is why? So next what we can do is verify we've got actual voltage. And the compressor is still very hot. Not my day. At this point I'm not too happy with myself for pulling the power on the compressor when I could have added some liquid Freon instead. Oh well, can't win them all. Okay, well, it finally turned on for me once I turned the camera off. So I'm going to go ahead and start charging it. And I'll fire this back on. Which was great. It just was overheated. Very stubborn one for sure. So now it should cool down pretty quickly. Once we get a little Freon in there. So I can go ahead and hook up my T1 and T2. Here's our low side. We want these straight up and down vertical. Gives a more accurate reading. Here's our T2. Showing 38 degrees superheat. Bring that to about 20. Subcool, we'd like to see it about 5 to 15, something like that. Glad it started for us. So we're showing 80 degrees, 76 degrees virtual saturation temperature. I'd like to see that get down to around 40. Back to our superheat. Showing 36 degrees. Compressor's pretty warm. But we are dropping, so that's good. Oh, the compressor's way hot. Go ahead and dump some cold water on it. You see it actually start to charge a little faster when I put the cold water on it. Dropped a whole degree of superheat. Dump some more and you'll see it. Watch. Starts to speed it up a bit. Might need to give it a little liquid just because of how hot the compressor is. I don't want to take a chance that it's going to overheat. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll just use the low side to meter it in. Yeah, it dropped quite a bit on the superheat. that'll help cool the compressor down a little bit. It just was getting too hot. I still prefer charging by vapor, but I suppose you gotta do what you gotta do. See our subcool starting to come up a little bit. Low side, I'd like to see it around 68, 72, somewhere in there. We're getting closer to better parameters. Again, I'm just using the low side gauge to meter in the liquid refrigerant, using it to throttle it in so that it's not too hard on the compressor. Careful for that high side line, it's hot. Sucker will tattoo you. Compressor's still way hot. Coming up a bit. Line's still pretty warm. Showing 43 degrees, super heat. We're starting to get there now. we should get from our hose. I'll switch back to vapor here, flip my can of refrigerant back upright. Compressor's cooling down a little bit. The refrigerant's doing its thing to help cool it down. That's good. And we're holding at 22.3 superheat. That's good. Pressure is more where we would like to see it. And we've got 6 degrees of subcool. So we're good there. We'll call it there. Nice and cold here. And that last couple degrees we'll get when I bring the high side refrigerant back over. So I'm going to re-put some gloves on just because some of the bad past experiences. I had to take them off because I was getting prune hands. Out here and see we've adjusted to our subcool. We're nice now. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my refrigerant. Okay, so now my safety glass is going to detach the high side and I'm going to get a cap ready for the Schrader valve as well. Make sure the O-ring's inside there. Okay. It'll kind of pop when it comes off. There it is. Oh, our Schrader valve's holding good. That is great. And our O-ring's inside. Seal it off. So we've repaired our leak, which was on this high side. Okay, now that we've turned off our refrigerant can and we've disconnected our high side line, I'm using these quick shut-offs. What we need to do is bring that refrigerant from the high side over into the low side. So I'm going to open the high side valve all the way, and then I'll use the low side and meter it over just like we did the liquid refrigerant until our pressures equalize here. And I'll just kind of shut it off, reopen it, shut it off, and just meter it in. So we got it all. We've recovered all that liquid refrigerant. Which brought our superheat down a little bit below 20. That's okay. It's not super sensitive, super critical. I've got a capillary tube system which is very forgiving. Actually we're showing right at 20, so that's good. Again, reopen it until our pressures are completely equal. And we're about there now. Now I'm all finished. The unit's charged according to superheat. The line's nice and cold. We're moving heat from inside the apartment, inside the house. We're good to go. Now I can turn off my refrigerant and turn off my refrigerant, and we can disconnect our hoses and put everything away. We're good to go. One air conditioner back up and running, back in business like it should be. Good to go. Now I don't have another job today, so I'm just gonna release the refrigerant. I don't want to keep anything trapped in my hose lines. Oops. So next I'll just disconnect my low side line. Same thing, I'll get a cap ready. Make sure the O-ring's inside. Disconnect the low side. And I want to make sure that's not leaking. I believe we're okay there, but I'm going to check it with the bubble up here. Yep, no bubbles. Right here, no bubbles. Right here, no bubbles. Good. And I'll clean all that off. We're good to go there. Okay. Set my Schrader valve cap. And we're all set. One air conditioner, back in business. Good to go. Now I can release the refrigerant from my gauge set since I don't have another job. And we're good to go. One air conditioner, back in business.